Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Empowerment Project podcast by Andrea Bosco and Dr. Shar Ray. I am Andrea Bosco.
And I am Dr. Shar. How are you, everyone? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone, for your support and for listening along the way. Please, please, please be sure to follow us so that you are made aware of all of our new episodes that come out on Tuesdays. And let us know what you think. Comment, write a review. Let us know. We love hearing from you. We've been hearing from a lot of you already, and just so happy that what we're talking about is resonating. So, today is a really great topic as it is the new year 2025. It's even hard to not hard, but weird to even say that word, like 2025, like crazy. We're heading, we've finished this quarter century. It's insane. Um, but we want to talk a little bit about kind of the lessons that we learned in 2024 and what we're choosing to bring in to 2025. And we really are emphasizing that word choosing. What are we choosing? Because if you've listened to anything we've talked about, it is really a choice. Our mindset, our happiness is a choice that we need to consciously make. And sometimes that choice needs to be made every hour of our day, or every morning or every evening, whatever it is, but it is that choice that we are really focusing on doing. So um, why don't I let you get started, Shar, on what did you kind of learn in 2024 and how are those lessons helping you move into this new year?
So, I want to start by saying that I think 2024 was a massive year of growth for me on so many levels. Um, for me personally, with my relationships with my husband, with my kids, with my parents, with my extended family. So, okay, so my some of my biggest lessons for 2024 um, was learning how to nurture my inner voice. So, a lot of the
Mhm.
things that I used to keep kind of tucked away inside of me because I was afraid of how people would feel, meaning that I would keep things tucked away because I didn't want other people to feel bad. um, I've decided that that's not something that I can do moving forward into 2025. So, using my inner voice to be authentic and real to myself, um, and allowing whatever I do say to be a part of the other person's journey. Because, again, you can say things in really nice, beautiful ways that still honor you, but then still honor that other person's journey. So, if you want to just kind of package that up, it's people pleasing. Like, so let's just put it in a nice box with
Yeah.
a nice ribbon on it. Let's call it people pleasing, where I wanted to always make sure other people were well and, were comfortable, but I would put myself in uncomfortable situations to make sure others were well. So that was a massive lesson for me in 2024, which is something that I cannot take over into 2025. Like 2025 is going to be a little different. So that was one major lesson. Like no
So,
more.
okay, before you move on,
Uh-huh.
because I think that lesson is huge. I think so many people listening can relate to people pleasing
Yeah.
and just maybe it's also not knowing how to say no to
Mhm.
people. Maybe, as you said, it's not using our voice in a true and authentic way. And in doing so, we are literally crumbling inside
Mhm.
and just deteriorating our own authenticity or our own happiness.
Mhm.
So what would you say you need to do in order to set better, well, I guess I'm gonna even say a tool, but what are you gonna do to not make that happen in 2025, or to try to avoid it?
Well, I think what you were just going to say, setting better boundaries, is one
Yeah.
of them. But so the way that I have realized that, first of all, that I was doing it is after I people please, I'm really resentful. I'm resentful
Mm,
because I've taken something away. I don't really want to do it, but I'm doing it because I think it's really nice to do something for someone. And so I've compromised myself. So what I've done is when someone asks me to do something, automatically my question is, look, yeah, sure, what do you want me to do? Because sometimes it's even the way people phrase the questions. Can you do me a favor? And you're like, yeah, sure. What can I do for you? um but what it is taking a step back and say, okay, listen, you know what, can you give me a couple of days to think about it, or can you give me a couple of hours to think about it, and then to really sit with what somebody is asking of me. Am I compromising my integrity? Am I compromising my energy? Am I compromising my time? Am I taking away from me, and am I taking away from them? So this is the big one.
mhm,
So a lot of times when people please, what they do is they don't want other people to feel bad or uncomfortable, like I was kind of saying at the beginning. So because I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, I'm going to do this for you. But what I've learned over the course of the year is, by you not letting people feel uncomfortable or sit in their discomfort, you're actually stealing from their journey, right? There's
mm,
so much learning and discomfort. And we talk about this all the time. Like, you cannot learn unless you're out of your comfort zone. So
mhm.
by me constantly people pleasing, I'm actually a thief. I'm stealing from your journey. I am actually taking as opposed to giving. So this
Yeah.
is the difference, right? Like, I'm taking from you now. I'm taking away your journey. I'm taking away the potential experience, the potential lessons that you can learn, because I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. And Andrew, you and I talk about this all the time. Like, we've been in our discomfort many times, and
Mhm.
it feels like crap when you're there. But the learning and the beautiful things that come from sitting in our own crap is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that would probably be the big thing, is just taking a couple of hours and just say, okay, you know what, let me just think about this for a second, right? And,
Yeah.
who am I serving when I'm doing this? Am I serving myself, or and like, or am I serving them, like authentically serving them, like helping somebody out
Yeah.
because they really really need it, and I can afford the time, the energy, the love, the space to do that for them? Or am I just totally compromising myself just to make sure they feel good? And then remember, when we people please, right, we people please because we also want to feel useful, we want to feel liked, we want to feel loved. But then the other thing that you end up learning is, a lot of times you are doing those things for these people, but it's also very conditional for them. The way that
Mhm.
they respond to you ends up becoming conditional. Like, if you don't continue to people please and you stop doing things for them, then they can decide, well, I don't like you anymore. I don't want to be around you anymore because you've stopped doing things for me.
Yeah.
Right? So that's, do you see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Did I answer your
Absolutely. No,
question?
I was gonna say that is that in setting our boundaries, and in maybe, and I love that tool because it's a very tangible tool to say, simply don't say yes right away, to
Yeah.
say, can you give me a day to think about this? Or even, I've often said, I need to pray on it,
Hmm.
or I need to meditate on it, or whatever. And you've set that boundary. And some people are going to be like, what the heck? Like, you usually always say yes. Or, why do you need time? I need to know right now. And so it's going to make them uncomfortable,
Mhm.
but you need to be okay with that and knowing that setting that boundary is going to set some people off, but you're
Mhm.
still teaching them how to treat you,
Mhm.
and therefore creating more authenticity, or not creating, but living through more authenticity of yourself so that you don't get resentful, right? Because
Mhm.
that resentment is what eats us up inside, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, frig, why did I say yes again? And now I got all this stuff to do and all that stuff. So I think that's a very good tangible task. And also what you were saying about, it's not just your lessons, it's their lessons
Yeah.
too. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I'll never forget the line that I heard on another podcast that I thought was so powerful, is that there's no um I can't remember the actual quote, but basically there's no one way liberation,
Mhm.
right? Like liberation, like when you're liberating yourself or setting yourself free, so let's say, in other words, you're also setting that other person free too. So
Mhm.
making a decision to liberate yourself will never just be one way. It'll
Mhm.
always be two-sided, because you've set yourself free, and in a way you're setting the other person free, and it might be challenging for them and it might be uncomfortable for them, but they will learn a lesson along the way as well. But it's not your job to figure that out. It's
Mhm.
just your job to do the liberating of yourself, or
Mhm.
boundary setting, or whatever.
Mhm.
And then knowing that you are giving them a lesson too. And
Mhm.
that's part of it.
Right. And I think that that also goes into the second thing that I learned in 2024, and that is to let go.
Mm,
Because when you stand in your power and you set your boundaries and you're being kind to yourself first, because really, if we're not filling our cup, if we're not filling our heart, if we're not loving ourselves to the full capacity, we really are running on empty when we continually try to do things for other people. So for me, it's letting go, because you deciding not to people please is going to ruffle a lot of feathers, whether it's in your immediate family, your extended family, in your friend group, with your relationship with your partner, with your children. It's going to ruffle a lot of feathers, and you have to be okay. You have to be able to let go of their response, because that has nothing to do with you. You're making
mhm,
a conscious choice to put yourself first, which is not selfish, by the way, right? We talk about this all the time. It's
mhm,
not a selfish thing to put yourself first. In order for us to function in this world, we have to. And when we take care of ourselves, we can take care of other people in a better way. So I guess for me, yeah, the two things are, people pleasing, being okay with the fact that it's going to ruffle feathers, and people might decide that they don't want to move forward with you because you have ruffled feathers, and they're sitting in their crap now and trying to figure it out. And then letting go of the people that don't want to move forward with you and can't see what you're uh doing for them. So letting go of people that aren't going to love you unconditionally.
yeah,
That's how I would say. Those are my two big ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
those
How
are
about you?
those are good. So I think for me in 2024, I really learned about living in flow.
Mhm.
Um, as entrepreneurs, and when you're owning your own business and balancing family and your self-care and all that, it's so easy to get caught up and rigid
Mhm.
about life and
Mhm.
about schedules and about timelines and about goals, setting them and achieving them, and all of these things. So I know what I found at the beginning of the year, I really intentionally wanted to be more in flow and trust the process and
Mhm.
trust and have faith that everything is going to work out the way it should be. And it doesn't mean that, you sit back and do nothing, but that you let go, again, that word letting go, you let go of the guilt or shame around things, not completing themselves. Or I know I used to, I'm like a recovering overfunctioner. That is definitely something I've worked on in the last, I'd say, about 3-4 years, around it's okay to have downtime, right? Like if I've, done my tasks and I'm sitting and enjoying a book or a show or whatever, that I don't feel guilty about doing that. And, um, so just living in that flow. And I found I was definitely able to do that this year more and more as the year progressed. Um, and I'm 100% taking that into this year as well, and continuing to just live in that flow. And on it, like, I'm a very visual person. So I actually envision the waves of an ocean just
Mhm.
flowing every time I feel that, like, okay, lots of stuff happening, and what am I going to get done first, and da, da, da. I literally envision the waves, and I'm just riding the waves. And the crazy thing is, I get very motion sickness.
Mhm.
I am a very I get motion sickness everywhere. So I it's interesting that even me thinking about riding the waves doesn't give me motion sickness, but the fact that I need that to, like, envision is interesting, because if I was actually doing it, I'd probably be like green. But yeah, visually getting into the waves, like ebbs and flows, and I am riding this wave. And the other thing that connects with this, that I really started focusing on near the end of the year, is my faith, and connecting with God, and connecting with the teachings of Jesus that I was raised on. And you know religion and faith, and like dogma and all that stuff, like, it's all kind of interwoven into people's lives. And whether it's something that stays with you all the time, or whether it's something you kind of move in and out of, I think it's a flow too, right? And when I was younger, it was just part of my life. Like, I didn't really choose it, right? And then I kind of got out of it a little bit, and now I feel like I'm being pulled back into it, and it's at the right time for me, where I'm really understanding why it's important for me. I'm not throwing it on anyone else. Everyone does their own thing. But why it's important for me to be connected to my spirituality, and to God, and to the teachings um, of the Bible and Jesus. And for me, that's been something that has come out of the end of this year that I really want to take into next year, or sorry, this year. Um, and finding new ways of talking about it and studying it, not getting rigid about it. It's not
Mhm.
that I'm gonna, shame and blame myself if I don't get it all done in a day or a week or whatever, but just sort of putting that out there, and setting that intention to learn more about it, and to find my space and place in there. So that those are kind of the two big ones for me this year, for
Wow,
sure.
that's huge. That's really big. For me, moving forward, like, do you have a word for 2025? Because I know for my word for 2024 was relaxing forward. So, like, just kind of like you said, going into the flow. That was my word for last year. And, that meant for me, whether something looks good or looks bad, just to be open to accept it, because there's some sort of learning and teaching in it.
Hmm.
And I think that's the thing that we always have to remember is, you know, things happen in those ebbs and flows. There are things that look, on the outside look really positive, and sometimes they look really negative. But to be able to embrace it all and just know it's for your highest good. So last year for me, my word was relaxing forward. And again, I don't know if you have a word for 2025, but my word for 2025, I know you're going to laugh when I tell you this, is no.
No,
And I know,
like
I know,
N-O.
like no, N-O. And that again just ties into being stricter about my boundaries, being very conscientious of what I need, because I found by the end of last year, I had no bandwidth. I can't even remember December. Like
Mhm.
that's how full I was. Like I had no bandwidth to do everything. So the relaxing forward for sure last year, this year is no, to really focus on what I need to be the best version of myself. So then I can also be the best version of myself for the people around me that need it, like my family, my business partner, Andrea, my extended family, whoever it is, my friends. But but saying no a lot more is going to be key. And and I'm and I have decided that I'm choosing me. I am choosing myself this year. I'm not choosing anybody else. I'm not choosing my husband. I'm not choosing my kids. I'm not choosing my parents or my friends. No offense, Andrea, but I have to choose me first.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like if I put myself first, which I've never done in my entire life, like, so this is like, I think
That's
everyone
huge.
needs to understand that I've never, ever put myself first. Everybody has always come before me, hence the whole people pleasing thing, right? So for me, I have to choose me first, whatever that means, because I know that if I do, I will be more conscientious of the growth that needs to come in for me, as opposed to, not being able to process it while events are happening in my life. So, for example, we were away in Jamaica over the holidays, and so much had happened up to that trip that, I mean, I could not even fathom trying to process what was happening, right? Because again, there was that internal dialogue that was happening. I was at the beach, and again, you don't have to be at a beach to do this, but I was at the beach and I was finally idle. And I was like, wow. And when I tell you the
Mm.
waves of emotion that came in, so the waves of
Mhm.
emotion, the sense of gratitude, because I had space to start walking through some of those events and processing them was huge for me. So
Mhm.
I feel like I shouldn't have to wait to be on a beach in Jamaica for that to happen. I should be able to do that over the course of the year while things are sort of happening and unraveling for me, unraveling and then also being put together. So, yes, choosing me, that's what it means. For me to choose me means that I'm going to sit with my lessons and not let them get bogged down into this freaking weight, hanging on my foot, like causing me to drown. I just
Yeah.
feel like I need to start doing that as it happens. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
how about you? Do you have a word for
well, no, and I
2025?
mean, for me, hearing you say that, and I've known you for a long time, I'm so happy that you're doing that for you, and you're choosing yourself. And I think, we talk about words and they're very powerful and the vibration of words. And I like that you've chose the word no. It does feel heavy for me.
Mhm,
So if it's no, I'm choosing me as a statement, I think that's very powerful,
mhm.
right? To kind of elevate that feeling, right? So it's because you're not saying no to yourself, you're saying no to other things that have been pulled you down and that have compromised yourself. So I would say, no, I'm choosing me.
Okay, I'm writing
Um,
that down. No,
Write
I'm
it down.
choosing me.
No, I'm choosing
Here
me.
we
That's
go.
your
No,
mantra
I'm
for
choosing
this
me.
year. And
Yes.
even
So then not a
asking
word, I guess, a statement.
a statement and phrase, yeah. And even asking yourself, like, when these things come up, and I get it, like, we're gonna have to do things for other people in our lives. It's not
Yeah.
about like shutting the door on every single person. That's not the energy you're looking for, but
Mhm.
it's just asking yourself that question, like, where is me in this? Like,
Yeah.
how am I choosing me in making this decision?
Mhm.
Um, in doing something for someone else, or in putting myself in certain situations, and that, just that conscious thought is going to help you move into different, better into situations, because it's usually unconscious, right? When you're making those choices, like, sure, no problem, like, it's coming out of conditioning and habits, and that, like, really deep programming that you've had growing up. So
Mhm.
making that conscious choice to ask yourself that question is going to be huge for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you
sure.
for summarizing that in a much nicer way.
Trying.
So how
So
about you?
yeah, so for me, I think my 2024 word was definitely like flow. I
Mhm.
wanted to find more flow, which I think I achieved, and I'm still working on. So I definitely want to bring flow, continue to flow, and I think faith. I think flow and faith are moving into this year, and fun. So I'm going to add another F word. I'm going to say flow, faith, and fun. And for those who know me, and that I like to have fun, I like to plan things. I'm generally the initiator of stuff. And I just think we need to do more things that make us laugh and take us out of our day-to-day routines, and just have fun with each other.
Mhm.
Um, you know, talking to that inner child, nurturing that inner child, and having fun. I know on my Instagram page, my personal Instagram page, in the spring, I had put out this question on my page saying, "Are you guys having any fun? When was the last time you had fun?" And I think that was my most interactive posts, like whether it was like private messages from people or just comments. And people were like, you know what, you're freaking right, like, I am not having enough fun. Like, if it's not, taking my kid to their soccer game or whatever, which is fun to see and do. Like, I love watching my kid play hockey and watching my daughter dance. Like, I love it. But outside of the stuff that we do for our kids, like, are you setting time apart to have fun with your spouse, fun with your friends,
Mhm.
fun with yourself? Go dance in the corner somewhere, or sing a song in your car. Like, I just really want to be in that vibration of having fun.
Oh, I like that. I think I might include that.
Yeah.
Choosing me and having fun. I'm going to include that.
Because we can get really serious. Adulting is serious, and we got to get stuff done, and that fun gets lost. And I even do it in my yoga classes, like when I'm teaching, and usually near the end of class, I'll give like a bit of a harder posture to do, and people are like really working hard, and I just say, have fun with it. Don't worry about how good you're doing it, or if you achieved the peak posture. We're just having fun, guys. It's just yoga. Have fun. And you instantly see the breath come back and the smiles come back, because I feel like, you can be in class and everything is like, breathing, and I'm in my thing, and it's like, listen, we're having fun here.
Mhm.
And so I really I'm trying to bring that energy into as much things as I can. Doesn't mean I don't care about something. It's that I'm bringing a lightness and less pressure and heaviness into some of the things that we have to do as adults.
So, I think it would be really cool to make or ask our audience what they're bringing into, what they're letting go of, and what they're bringing into 2025. So, what are you letting go of in 2024? What are you bringing into 2025? I think it would be awesome to hear from everybody. And I think what would be really cool is for us to do a another podcast, let's say in March, to see where everybody's at. Because the truth is it's so easy for us to sit and make these, what do you want to call them, resolutions or ideas or pick words or whatever, but then are we integrating them? Are we really integrating them into our life? Are we really holding on to what we've decided? So for me, it is choosing me. For you, it is having a little bit more fun or flow or faith, whatever it is. So I think, are we continuing to do that? Like, what are we doing on a daily basis? What are we doing on a weekly basis? What are we doing on a monthly basis to make sure that that's still a big part of how we're showing up in 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea. So, everyone listening, please let us know. Reach out to us in any way you know how to do, and let us know maybe what your words are, what your intentions are this year, and then we'll check in and we'll see how things are going in the next few months. And again, this is not to put pressure, or I feel often we think of setting resolutions, and oh, if we don't achieve them, then we're going to feel shameful. It's not about that. It's when you put an intention out there, as we've said many, many times, the way the brain works is that we start to source out and search for proof, right?
Mhm.
Proof to achieve, or just proof to understand that intention. So putting that intention out there is really important, and wherever it's supposed to go, it's going to go. It's really not like a right or wrong thing. It just is what it is. So we want to hear that, and we thank you so much for listening, and for continuing to support us into 2025. And we will see you all, or hear you all, next time.
Take care, everyone.